right, let's talk about one of the most misunderstood cards in the entire tarot deck, the Hanged Man. I know, he looks a little uncomfortable, right? But what if I told you this card isn't about punishment at all, but about enlightenment? That his totally serene expression isn't one of suffering, but of some profound insight? Let's dive in and see why. You ever have that feeling like you're just spinning your wheels? You know, you're pushing and pushing, trying to force something to happen, maybe in your job, a relationship, or even just inside yourself, but nothing's giving. You just feel completely and utterly trapped. If that sounds even a little familiar, then you're already starting to get what the Hanged Man is all about. And here it is. This is the single most important idea we're going to talk about today. The Hanged Man isn't about giving up in defeat. No way. It's about a conscious choice, a choice to pause, to let go of control and just surrender to the moment. It's the huge difference between a painful sacrifice and a wise, strategic release. Okay, so first up, we've got the Upright card. This represents wise surrender. This is where we're going to discover the incredible power that comes from intentionally hitting the pause button on life, just for long enough to see everything in a brand new light. So all of these meanings, they're pointing to this one kind of counterintuitive solution. When you feel trapped, the answer isn't to struggle harder. It's to stop struggling entirely. Seriously. By letting go, you're creating the space to see your problem from a completely new angle. And that's where the real magic is. Releasing those beliefs that hold you back and realizing that you actually have the power to change your situation. So how does this actually apply to, everyday life? Well, in general, it's a call to just trust that the right path is going to appear once you stop trying to force everything. In your love life, it suggests maybe pausing any big decisions so you can really rethink what you truly want. For your career, it might mean accepting a brief period where nothing seems to be happening, knowing that it's just setting you up for clarity later. And for your health, it's all about giving yourself the time and the grace to just heal. This really lays it out perfectly, doesn't it? The two paths. On one side, you have surrender, that wise pause. But what happens when we refuse to take it? Well, we end up on the path of resistance, just making impulsive moves to feel busy, even when it's totally the wrong thing. And that brings us right to the card's reversed meaning. And now we see the Hanged Man reversed, which I like to call stagnant resistance. This is the big warning sign. It's what happens when you know a change is needed, but you dig in your heels anyway. And that leads to a much more painful, much longer state of being stuck. So when it's reversed, the card's productive energy just gets all twisted up. That wise pause becomes apathy. Instead of gaining a new perspective, you're making rash decisions just to avoid the silence. This is exactly when we get caught repeating the same negative patterns over and over, avoiding the real issues and, blaming pretty much anyone but ourselves for being stuck. This resistance, it shows up in some very specific ways. In general, it's that pattern of jumping from one bad situation to another just to avoid really feeling your feelings. In love, it's dating the same person in a different package, again and again. At work, it's that feeling of being a powerless passenger in your own career. And in your health, it's when the stress of it all starts showing up as actual physical symptoms. Okay, so we've seen the two paths, wise surrender versus stagnant resistance. So what's the ultimate takeaway here? How do we actually put this wisdom into action and make sure we stay on the right path? Ultimately, it all comes down to this really powerful idea. Your attitude towards your life will determine life's attitude towards you. The Hanged Man teaches that your perspective isn't passive. It actively shapes your reality. So when you choose to change your inner world, the outer world actually begins to change with it. It's pretty amazing. So here it is, broken down into a simple 4-step process. Number 1, acknowledge you're stuck. You got to name it to tame it, right? 2, surrender control. Just stop pushing that boulder uphill for a minute. 3, shift your perspective. Literally, imagine yourself hanging upside down and seeing the world completely differently. And 4, await clarity. Just trust that it will come once you stop churning the waters. And that brings us to our final thought. See, the Hanged Man isn't a victim. He's a willing participant in his own breakthrough. He gets it. He understands that a new view requires a new position. So the real question for you is, where in your life is it time to stop struggling, let go, and choose to hang upside down?